Hey guys, Joe Sidoti here. Thanks for stopping by for another video. This is all about mixing in your bedroom. If you are in a situation where this is the best case scenario you've got and you need to mix in a bedroom, I'm gonna give you 5 tips on things that you can do to help improve your bedroom mixes. All right, tip number 1 is don't set up in a corner. And here's why. When you have one speaker off to a corner, that one speaker that's in the corner is gonna have a whole lot of low and low mid issues because of the boundaries that are near it. So whenever possible, you wanna make sure that you are set up in the middle of a wall. You wanna be as symmetrical as possible. Symmetry is key. Number 2, let's talk about the room for a second. A perfectly square room is just about the worst case scenario. Let me expand a little bit. So let's say you had a 10 by 10 room, but you had an 8-foot ceiling. Well, that's not a perfect square. So it's at least, because that ceiling is a little bit lower, it's at least better. But if you have like a 10 by 10 room with a 10-foot ceiling and you're in this perfect cube, just find another room. I mean, kick some kids out of one room and swap with them, because you're just gonna have nothing but problems if you're in a perfect cube. So let's say you aren't in a perfect cube and one wall is longer than the other. You always wanna be setting up front to back on the long side of the room. So you're facing the short wall and the long walls are on your side. So let's say it's 10 foot wide by 12 feet deep. You wanna be letting the length of the room be in front of you and behind you. And here's the rule of thumb. Are you ready? Here's the math. 0.375 times the length of the room. That's where your head should be. 0.375. Okay, do the math. Number 3 is base is king. Okay, you're gonna have more issues with bottom end than anything else in a small room like a bedroom. So you've got to figure out how to absorb and tame this bass. I'll give you one little tip, and it's if you've got, let's say, a twin mattress in the room, don't take it out. Leave it in there. Yeah, it's ugly and it's cheesy and you're sitting there at your desk and you've got this twin mattress right behind you. But you know what? That mattress is gonna suck up a whole bunch of bottom end, and that's what you need, because that's gonna be your main issue in this small room. You're not gonna get it perfect, but at least if you know your speakers really well, if you're symmetrically set up in a room, if you're sitting at that 0.375 of the length of the room, you're gonna be at least in a better situation starting out. You know, leave the mattress in there, but the point is you're gonna really need to focus on absorbing this bass. Foam won't help anything. If anything, what it's gonna do is it's gonna actually enhance your low, mid, and bass problems, because it's gonna suck out so much of the highs that you're gonna be left with this dark, boxy sound, and it's unnatural and it's gonna cause issues. So what you need to do is think about those reflection points. If you're thinking, well, I need to put foam up because there's a flutter in the wall and I clap and it goes, okay, well, in a small room, you might be better off just going with diffusion. Now you can build all sorts of different types of diffusers. I've got a Skyline in the back of my room, but make sure that you're actually following math, that you're not just, willy-nilly doing it. With that being said, a bookcase behind you can be a really good natural form of diffusion. Now, is this perfect? No. Is this mathematical? No. But it's better than having a bunch of flutters that's causing all sorts of echoing and just messing with your head. Okay, point number 5 is pretty straightforward. It's dealing with first reflection points. Now, what does that mean? That means if I'm sitting in my mix position and I've got my speaker set up here, then wherever that speaker hits the wall or a boundary or the ceiling and comes back to me, whatever first reflection comes back, that is what you need to work on. And here's why. Your brain perceives that sound off of that first reflection point as if it's direct sound. It thinks that it's coming from the speaker because it's hitting the wall or the ceiling and coming back to your ears so fast that your brain can't tell the difference between direct sound and reflection sound. So you're gonna be making mix decisions that aren't gonna translate because of those first reflections. Maybe you've heard of the mirror trick. Now this is a basic, easy trick that you can do to find your first reflection point. Have somebody walk along the side wall of your room while you're sitting in the mix position and have them hold a mirror, just a small mirror, and have them walk along. And as you sit there, look over, and when you see the speaker come into view of that mirror, specifically the tweeter, have them stop. Mark the wall with some tape or something. That is your first reflection point. That is the first point in which sound is going to come off of the speaker, hit a surface, and come back right at you. And be careful. A lot of times, the ceiling can be your first reflection point. So ceiling, huge, very important, and the side first reflections. If you can get those taken care of, you're going to solve a lot of your translation problems when you're mixing. All right, now that you know what first reflection points are, let's talk about ways that we can deal with it. First things first, all you need is some fiberglass insulation. I'm talking about the pink or the yellow stuff that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's. Don't even get the kind that's foil backed or paper backed, just the raw insulation. It's all you need. An R13 and R18, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you want to build it up at least 2 inches thick, at least, preferably more like 4 inches thick. And then it's real simple. Build you like a 1x4 frame, 2 foot by 4 foot is usually a good size. Build the frame out, shove the insulation in there, wrap it with fabric, staple the fabric. Now, a way to know whether the fabric choice is going to work is simple. Hold the fabric up to your mouth and blow through it. If you can feel your breath, then the sound will travel through there and the insulation will do its job. If you can't feel your breath, move on to a different fabric. Burlap is an option that's really cheap. It works well because it's very breathable and you can get it just about any fabric store in all sorts of colors, so there's an option for you. So, you're gonna have problems in a bedroom mixing scenario. You're never gonna overcome them all, but you can manage some of them and you can make good sounding music. It's just not gonna be as easy. It's gonna take more work. You're gonna have to go and listen in multiple places, and you're gonna have to really work hard at getting to know your room, getting to know your speakers, and making mistakes and coming back and fixing them. But it is possible, and if you follow these tips, you're gonna be setting yourself up for success. If you're set up in a corner, you are not setting up for success. You're fighting issues you don't even realize that you have. If you're setting up right against a wall and you've got a long room, then you need to do the 0.375 times the length of the room because you're sitting in a wrong spot where all sorts of frequencies are gonna wreak havoc with you. If you're not taking care of those first reflections, your brain is gonna think that those sounds coming off the walls are direct and you're gonna make decisions that are wrong. And if you've got flutter in a room, you need to work on diffusion. Whether you build a diffuser yourself or whether you have a bookshelf or something to really scatter the sound, which can be helpful in a small room. It can actually make a small room sound like it's bigger. Look, there's nothing wrong with the fact that you're mixing in your bedroom right now. Own it. Don't be embarrassed of it. Tick all the boxes that you can, that you're doing everything possible within your means and that you're making it the best that you can. You know what? Take some photos of your home studio in your bedroom and tag me, Sidoti Sound, on Instagram. And I'd love to see it. There's nothing to be ashamed of if you're having to mix music in your bedroom. Millions of people have done it, are still doing it. Grammy-winning albums have been mixed in bedrooms. It's not a problem. Don't let the haters tell you that what you're doing is crap and you'll never amount to anything. You know what? You can make great music. Will it be perfect? No. Will your acoustics be great? No. But you can follow these steps to at least maximize the potential in your bedroom. All right, guys, I really appreciate your time. We'll see you on the next video. If you like this video, then click that like button, I appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel and help support Sidoti Sound, and click that bell if you want to be notified when I release new videos. And of course, you can find me on all sorts of social media, so be sure to check that out. If you'd like to work with me on an upcoming project, then make sure to visit SidotiSound.com for more information. All right, guys, thanks a lot.